with a wing or tail of space debris only after they enter the region inside the orbit of Jupiter. And worryingly, recent pictures of Nibiru show that it has wings. What's up guys, this is JT here at X Science, and like I said, the system of planet X is really close to us now. For those who don't know, this is a system of 7 planets orbiting a comet planet, so called by the renowned astrophysicist Carlo Munroferrada, because it is as massive as a planet but orbits like a comet. The consensus by many is that the system periodically passes closely by the Earth and wreaks havoc upon life because of the gravitational and magnetic anomaly that comes along with it. Now, as I said before, Planet X is now captured with wings. Take a look at these photos yourself. I'll repeat something very important. Comets and similar objects are only seen with a tail or wing after they are inside the orbit of Jupiter. In other words, Nibiru and its system are already on the edge of the inner solar system. But why is that worrying? Well, on the edge of the inner solar system is an asteroid belt, and Nibiru passes will plunge the huge asteroids toward the Earth at an incredible speed. For your information, this is exactly how the known avian dinosaur gone extinct. An asteroid, this side of Mount Everest, is flung from the asteroid belt into the Earth, causing the KPG mass extinction event. Now, it might take some time for the asteroids to get here, but what we can already feel on Earth is a dramatic changes in seismic and climate activities caused by the increasing Earth wobble. Earth wobble refers to the tilt of the Earth's rotating axis, and it increases because of Planet X's gravity. If you are not convinced by this, let me remind you of the fact that virtually every volcano on the rings of fire is roaring back into life, including the famous Kilauea eruption, which has just entered its 4th month of eruption with no signs of calming down. Scientists also warn of a potential mega earthquakes greater than magnitude 9 caused by the collisions of the North American and the oceanic tectonic plates. These earthquakes can very well create a 100 feet tall mega tsunami that can hit the west coast of the US within only 15 minutes. Here's your comparison. The tsunami in Japan in 2011 that killed 16,000 people was only 20 feet tall. And therefore, when this mega disaster happens, millions of casualties are anticipated, not to mention the star falling down from heaven afterwards. And by that, I mean the asteroids. Climate change is also a fact acknowledged worldwide. Recent disaster includes the heatwave hitting Europe 2 weeks ago, bringing Belgium up to 40 degrees and Spain to almost 50 degrees Celsius, hitting Europe in the summer. Meanwhile, setting Athens on a Wi-Fi that killed almost 200 people. At the same time, Japan was hit with a historic flood, which also killed more than 200 people. You see, weather abnormality simply cannot be denied, and they should be taken as a sign that something catastrophic is coming, and we should all be prepared, one way or another. Speaking of being prepared, many people believe that the elites around the world know of the inbound planets and have been preparing with secret facilities. According to many leaked sources, the United States have at least 150 underground facilities, including the whole city under Denver Airport. The things about these shelters is that they are unnecessarily deep if they were to be protection from a nuclear war. Therefore, they must have been built in anticipation of something really big. Russia has been a little but open, as we know, that they have built 5,000 shelters around the country, and recently they carried out a drill run that involved 40 million people. That is a huge drill run, and only a global catalysm can call for such intense preparation. China is also rumored to have prepared ghost cities deep inside the interior, away from the ocean. Another preparation the elites have made for themselves is the seed vaults. There are said to be 1,400 worldwide, with the biggest one known being the one in Norway. These vaults have the seed of every crop plant and are places to store and protect them and make sure these species survive whatever is coming, so that the humans who survive have a source of food after Judgment Day. The sun is also acting weird. It is reported that sunspots are at their most active in the past 8,000 years. Scientists have also recorded huge increase in solar radiation. Other than that, strange atmospheric phenomena such as sundogs, red aurora borealis, red sky, and the like have been appearing more and more frequently. These happenings are either supposed to be weird or have never happened before. This is clear evidence of a change caused by an inbound celestial body large enough to distort not only the Earth but also the rest of the solar system's activities. Now I would like to show you the following footage from our fellows at Skywatch Media. These footage were captured by their audience worldwide and submitted to them. Just to make it clear, we also really appreciate submission because it means a lot to us to know that you are supporting us and we on both sides are watching each other backs. Therefore, whenever you capture something in the sky, especially two sun phenomenon, which is the clearest and most concrete evidence of Nibiru's coming, please send it to us and we'll extract the most information we can and give you the newest updates. Now I'm gonna stop talking for a while so you can watch the footage. Just to sum everything up, Planet X is really close, and we are already suffering from its magnetic and gravitational fields. Devastating and bourgeois phenomena are taking place worldwide. So guys, stay safe out there. Keep yourself updated with not only knowledge on the issue, but also survival skills, because we are going to need the best of us to survive. Stay tuned to us and subscribe, because we will try our best to keep you posted. Keep looking to the sky, guys.
American astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson once said, Planet X is a marvelous work of fiction by people who flunked physics in high school. And many people following our news and updates have told us that they have difficulties convincing people around them, friends, family, neighbors, that something is in the sky on a trajectory straight towards planet Earth. Hello YouTube, this is JT at X-Science, and today we are going to talk about why it is unreasonable to deny the existence of Planet X, or also known as the Nibiru capitalism. The biggest counter-arguments we have against Planet X basically revolve around the opinion that the claim of a planetary collisions seem outlandish and unrealistic. Additionally, because the date of the collisions has been postponed more than once, first stated to be 2003, then 2012, then again pushed further into the future, many people, even the famous UFO hunter secure team, said that this is only old material being recycled all over and over again. As a result, the apocalyptic prophecy is put to the sideway only to be brought back up again and then moved aside again. When I personally think that people lacking the real knowledge is to be blamed. First of all, for such a major cosmic event, we are talking about a freaking planetary collisions. An error of several years seemed to be quite normal. Additionally, the 2003 date was later claimed by its announcer, Nancy Leader, to be false, and the real date was supposed to be kept secret. And the 2012 date was only a fusion with the ends of Mayan calendar by some internet troll. They are, since the beginning, unreliable, and thus it is understandable that they keep being pushed further and further away from present day. Anyway, back to our story. Since some of you, like I said in the beginning, are having a hard time trying to give a head up to people around you, and even some scientists are making fun of us, I'm going to talk today about 9 reasons why it is not sensible to dismiss the inbound Planet X. Before going into our list, I'm sure that most of you watching this video is far too familiar with what it is and what its indications are. However, there are as always newbies coming into the field. I'm going to give it a quick explanation. So Planet X is, as they say it, hypothetical planets lurking beyond the known planets of our solar system. Many sources and signs from many civilizations and research point out the planets don't actually exist, and it periodically comes in close contact, like almost a collision with Earth, wreaking havoc upon the planets. The list of reasons why the planet exists that I will talk about today will be a resourceful one that you can use to convince everyone around you, no matter how much knowledge they lack or how stubborn they are, that this is more than an age-old story of some internet trolls. The most compelling reason why Planet X exists and we don't know or are not led to know about it is all the cover-ups from NASA, the authorities as well as their agencies. So in 1983, NASA and its scientists made headlines in most prestigious newspapers you can imagine, like the New York Times and the Washington Post, where they announced that their infrared satellites had discovered another big planet lurking on the edge of the solar system, and that the planets, or at least the planetary object, seems to be coming closer. But then, within less than a week, all of the news stories were rejected, and NASA said there was no further evidence confirming the existence of this object. Also, the United States President Ronald Reagan made the announcement of this planet a part of the United States national security mandate. In political terms, it means that it is illegal for astronomers, scientists, government agencies, or any agency actually, as well as learning institutions, to address the discovery publicly. According to some leaked information, it was believed that Mr. Reagan did so because he was convinced that if the public knows about a planetary collisions and a global catalysm coming their way, they would panic. Chaos would break out and the whole socio-economic system would collapse. Not stopping there, he convinced other big powers, such as Russia, to follow suit. The whole existence of Planet X then became a made-up story or, well, a top secret. NASA has not since spoken a word about it. The second, convincingly proving the existence of Planet X, is a series of ancient records and pre-modern time research that all came to the same conclusion of a large planetary body hiding beyond Neptune that come in close contact with planet Earth periodically, disrupting the Earth's magnetic activity and causes global apocalypses. Probably the most well-known ancient writing about these issues is that from the Sumerian. Now, let me tell you guys, these people know of Pluto long before we did in the 1930s. In one of the tablets, they depicted the solar system as having 10 planets, meaning that there is one another beyond the Pluto that we know. This planet is called Nibiru, or roughly translated, the planet of the crossing. These people are from Babylonia, by the way. If you want to know more about this, we recommend that you read The 12th Planet by Zachariah Sitchin. Even though many label him as a crazy old man, his book was sold millions of copies and been translated in 25 languages. So I think there must be a considerable degree of reliability in this crazy old man writing. Anyway, the Sumerian writings of Nibiru have a lot in common with the wormwood in the Holy Scripture and the spoken story of the Australian aborigine, mind you, Babylonia, Australia, and Europe. This civilization could not have had a lot of interaction in the past. In fact, they could not have any interaction at all because they are from very different periods of time. Now flash forward to the 19th century, astronomers have hypothesized that there are two large cosmic bodies lurking far beyond Uranus, causing its erratic orbits. When Neptune was discovered, it was deemed too small to be the only planet affecting the orbit of Uranus, and even Neptune's orbit itself seems to be affected by a large gravitational forces on the edge of the solar system. In other words, there must be something else, and that something else is big enough to distort the orbits of the two gas giants. Also in the 19th century, Percival Lowell, a wealthy American businessman, financed the building of the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona. Sources state that, originally, the mission of the observatory was to look for the mysterious giant planet. So yes, the American, at least a part of us, already knew of the existence of this planet since the 19th century, and they searched the sky for more than 3 decades and they end up discovering Pluto. Of course, Pluto is nowhere near big enough to alter 1/5 of the orbit of Neptune, let alone both Neptune and Uranus. This next reason I'm about to tell you guys is a phenomenon that is very rarely talked about, which is the increase in the Earth's wobble. In case you don't know, wobble refers to deviation in the Earth's axis of rotation. This is most clearly observed by people living far away from the equator and people who work outside most of the time, such as farmers. It is reported by farmers from many places around the world that since 2005, they have been noticing how the sun and the moon have been rising and setting in abnormal positions. Their observation is definitely valid because not only do they work outside, they have to observe the sky for signs of weather, and their livelihood is based on this, and the experience builds up over time. This claim is corroborated by the Inuits and the Eskimo elders who live near the Arctic Circle. Like I said before, these people live on the edge of the world, and they are most likely to observe clearly any anomalies in the sun and the moon. Now here's some interview with them from a while back.
Hawli malaking karwattunga kana ujjatullah takasila kadoy develop si mga tanali ujjatasi malaking takasikin taban tabangan tabani yuta guma tana ujjatasi malaking takasikin tabang anak kasugu gami wachwado gami karwalami hawalo watrap tinido kisiyali Eba kaya doktor sebelum mengatakan namun eba ubaruni pau tepawa ubur paduk sebelum mengalami tepawa pakai paduk sebelum mengatakan namun isu mengataku كيما تقطعنا وقوسقي يبلغ خطتك السقين سيدا
nunakyaabut qitjaqluppalangat asinaligalaaciummat kanganlaruno mga kakaunga sukuingitaqakisiani kawisipanunga siqinak apagunga nanubulik maunga saumiano nipikattalaqsimangalawangat nunakyaabutana asinaligalaacimalaqtillugu maunga nauyamiksaanunga taqisimunaqtisaqina
سقنقتك أقوشي تبتدان يتلو شو قال ما نونا خيجت لك بعد ما سقنق باونا بعد نعلو أكيد أنا سير الله أقوشي بعد كتب مريت له وأنا في نتلو من رامينا تسقي يا ولا هم وبقى خندي يا عم كما كوا أجري يوم نتكلم يكون عبدوني يمنا ولا خصم يا غروا هاي منا يوم نتكلم أما أنا ولا خصم ميت أما ما ولا خصم ولا خصم tamakwa ubdugan amma khanoi jawat simadagati sida khanoi jawat ida nuna khanoi jawat
This abnormal wobble causes unusual changes in the jet stream around the world, leading to extreme weather that has been associated with global warming. The changes in Earth's ices also causes an increase in tectonic stress and thus volcanic eruption. Now, speaking of volcanic eruption and seismic activities, there have been abnormal increase of them and the public is of course unaware of this. The increase is not a normal natural cycle, and those in power have many different methods to prevent the public from connecting the dots and seeing the connection and the bigger pictures. The point here is that you shouldn't believe the media and the official paper when it comes to issues like this, because the media and the paper are not only dependent on governments for their sponsorship, but are also forbidden from addressing the issue. Remember Reagan and the mandate. You get what I mean. So whenever you read about the matter like this, you should also select your own facts and figures and use common sense and logical thinking to realize what should we believe and what belongs to political agenda. Anyway, back to our seismic events. The powers that are frantically attempting to limit the public from knowing about anything abnormal in the Earth's activities. One of the methods is deliberately misinterpreting the number of large earthquakes and eruptions on a global scale. How do they do this yet? In 2003, the United States Geological Society, USGS for short, lowered the earthquake system rating by 1 point. So a magnitude 7 earthquake is reduced to a magnitude 6.1. This effectively allows them to tell the public that there is no rise on the number of unusually less seismic activity. Also, I can't forget to mention volcanic eruptions. If you have been following us, you would be updated on the Kilauea volcanic eruption in Hawaii, which have been going on for almost 3 months now, and there has not been a single sign of calming down. Here's another incredible figure. It is estimated that a striking number of 3 million fissures and magma flows are littering the ocean worldwide. A major volcanic eruption can pour more than poisonous gases into the atmosphere than all the man-made pollution. In fact, volcanic eruption causes one of the 6 mass extinctions of life on Earth. Mind you, the current increase in volcanic activity is because of the Earth's wobble, and such an unusual increase in the wobble can only be caused by a large gravitational forces. As far as we know, no nearby planet is approaching us, and so the option is narrowed down to the one and only Nibiru. Next on the list, all the censorship. The funny things about censorship is that fake photos are all over the place, and that makes sense because if the photos are fake, why bother taking them off the internet? However, if something is real, such as Planet X, censorship would mean there is no proof for existence, at least no proof available to the public. That's why the censorship and all the mandatory cover-up is concrete evidence for Planet X. In fact, our fellow Skyward Media has many times experienced important websites and articles being taken down because of unexplainable reasons. Another very compelling reason supporting Planet X coming is a secret preparation that the big governments have been doing. Russia is very open about this. They recently completed building and uplifting 5,000 shelters in Moscow. This facility can accommodate up to 100,000 people, and even though they don't explicitly say what these shelters are built for, all of us can speculate a big devastating event coming, and the governments want to protect at least parts of the population from the catastrophe as well as its aftermath. The United States is estimated to have at least 150 underground facilities for whatever reason, and according to a leaked official sources, there is a whole city under Denver airport. Guys, that is whole city, a whole entire underground city. As far as I know, the United States is not yet overpopulated to the point where it needs underground city. So there must be something coming, and the cities are to protect the privileges from the capitalism. Also, this facility are reported to have been started since the 1980s, coincidentally when NASA first announced a planetary object existing beyond the known planets. China has also been constructing ghost cities in the vast interior far away from the coast. So they must also be anticipating the destruction on a very large scale. The ghost cities are there, but the reason is hidden, so that must be for crowd control and also for ensuring the interest and safety of certain privileged groups. The next sources of convincing information we have on Planet X comes from doomsday prophecy and channeling. One of the reasons I said above is that many unrelated cultures tell tales of the end time scenarios and crossing planets. What I want to say here is more than just cultural myth, but channeling from a higher because of late arrival. These later channelings I'm talking about here don't directly mention colliding planets, but polar shifts and catastrophic water-related events. They all conclude with the ends of life on Earth and the survival of only a few, after which life again flourishes. The eighth reason I'm mentioning today is the increase in UFO sightings. It is very likely that the extraterrestrial life are not here for fun or curiosity of taking over, but to warn us of an imminent threat. The Sumerian writings state that there are sentient beings on Nibiru, and they used to come in contact with early humans when the two planets crosses. And Nancy Leader, the woman who first mentioned the collision in 1995, claimed that she knew this because of alien implant. I guess we should keep looking to the sky and catch any hints we have. There is not much else you can do anyway. Our ninth and final reason once again is related to censorship. There has been overwhelming supposedly scientific evidence that magnetic polar shift has happened in the past. There are lots of evidence, and this has been confirmed by many times over and over again. It is just not widely recognized from the public's perspective, even though dozens of researchers have proven so. Also in this paper, there are no rogue planets mentioned. It is understandable because it's not possible to know exactly what caused these polar shifts in the past. But these findings are also not widespread because of governmental mandates. If these people were to make the result viral, they will go into a lot of problems regarding the livelihood and legality. So to sum up the whole video, if Planet X really is a hoax by trolls and the uneducated, I guess it must be the greatest one of all time, given the effort and evidence made to back it up. You see here there are facts that we cannot deny. The wobble, the apocalyptic changes in natural phenomenon worldwide, and all the unexplainable censorship and secret preparations. Not to mention the consistency in research and tales from different times and places. I hope this list was useful for you guys. I bet that even the most stubborn denier will have to at least start worrying about the incoming planets. Tell me what you guys think and any other reasons and proof you might have in the comments below, and stay tuned for more news and updates. Until then, stay safe and keep your eyes on the sky. Eclipses are great occasions for both astronomers and the public to have a good time on the rooftop, treating themselves to some wonder in the sky that doesn't happen every day. Eclipses are also occasions when it is easiest for a rogue object on a trajectory toward the Earth to reveal itself. What's up guys, this is JT at XSign. I hope you guys do remember the Great American Eclipse on the 21st of August 2017. Now, in case you have already forgotten, it was a total solar eclipse visible in the band spanning from the east coast to the west coast of America. It was even partly visible from as far as Europe and Africa, as well as the far east of Asia. Now what makes the eclipse so special is not only its degrees of totality and span, but also other things that were made visible because of its happening. You see, during the day, the sunlight blocks out everything that is supposed to be visible, and as night comes, our path of the earth faces another direction. Therefore, there are a lot of things that we are missing out up there. So a solar eclipse creates the perfect conditions for sky watching because it blocks out the suns and reveals other celestial bodies. And indeed, during the Great American Eclipse, Mars, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter were all visible in the sky. The star system Regulus was also revealed. Now for your information, Regulus is the brightest star system of the constellation Leo. But that is not all. Something else also made its grand appearance, and we know for certain it is not any of the celestial bodies mentioned above. Why? Well, take a look at this photo here, taken in Idaho. As you can see, there is a cosmic object at these directions of 5 o'clock. It is not any of the planets we mentioned above because Regulus was visible to the right of the sun. Mars and Venus were on the upper right corner, while Jupiter and Mercury was on the upper left. Well, of course, you can argue that this can be any celestial body out there or even a lens flare, which is unlikely though, because this photo was taken in area of totality with an X-clip filter with X-clip glasses with ISO setting of 1600. So that leaves us with the other arguments, that this can be any cosmic entity. But then, take a look at this photo. This was taken from Italy and the planets or whatever it is appeared much bigger and more visible. We know it is the same object because it is at the exact same locations, and the photo you see actually have been super enhanced, so you can see the dim light that this rogue system of planets radiates. And it makes perfect sense because the light is crimson red, and according to an insider who used to work with the Hubble telescope, the approaching system of planets is made up of a lot of iron oxide, and therefore if we can see it, it is going to be red. Now I'm not going to talk too much about Hubble Insider here because we have extracted one of the interviews in an audio you can find later. Now I'm just going to show you guys some other footage and photos from the eclipse that I think are incredible and are very concrete evidence that the rogue system of planet X is on its trajectory toward the Earth and is really very close. Now, these zoom-in ones were taken from Anchorage, Alaska. Next is the video clips caught in the city of Panama, Florida. Now, as you can see, this time here there is an object on the other side of the Sun, symmetric with the object that was supposed to be planet X at the directions of 5 o'clock. At first, it was unclear what this was. It could very well be a lens flare or a sun-dog phenomenon, but after some analysis with clarity enhancement and saturation adjustment, it is revealed to be another source of light. Reasonable that because of the angle and light, the camera somehow captures the reflection of Nibiru. Of course, I'm not a light physicist, so I can't explain that in detail, but I just know that such illusions or reflections is possible. Another explanation that sounds a bit more dire is that there is more than one celestial bodies up there interacting with our solar system. In these situations, it is unknown what the indication might be for us here on Earth, or when we may feel those effects. So a good advice is keep looking to the sky for any anomalies. Okay, next I want to show you guys this photo. This is a chart made by an astrophysicist from Kyoto, Japan. He has actually done a considerable amount of investigations into pulsar and wobble and things like that, and he actually calculated and pinpointed the positions of planet X based on the footage captured on the solar eclipse. So here how he calculated it. First, take a central spot on the Sun and extend the line down to planet X. Now before we continue, just for your information, the distance from Earth to the Sun is called 1 astronomical unit, or 1 AU for short. Planet X turned out to be 0.84 units from the Earth. To put that into perspective, Venus is 0.72 AU from the Sun, or equivalently 2.28 AU from our Earth. From here, take the down distance from the center point of the Sun, which is 1.04 AU, and multiply that by the distance from Earth to Venus. That would then give us a fair equation, which placed planet X roughly 440,000 kilometers below the ecliptic plane. The next step we need to do is to take the diameter of the Sun, which is 1,391,000. Times that by the distance to the right of the Sun in addition to the distance between the Earth and the Venus, and the result is 340,000 kilometers to the right of the Sun. Okay, summing up. The system of planet X is 340,000 kilometers to the right of the Sun and 440,000 kilometers below the ecliptic. Oh, and by the way, quick explanation. The ecliptic is the plane where the planets of our solar system orbit the Sun. It is basically like a flat stick on which the planets rotate. The system of Nibiru is rising up to the plane. Well, it's hard to say rise or fall in space, but what I mean when I say it is rising to the ecliptic is that it approaches Earth from the direction that we here on the Earth call the south. That is why it is more easily spotted from the southern hemisphere. In fact, a lot of space observatories in the southern hemisphere as well as in Antarctica is rumored to have the main purpose of keeping a lookout on planet X. And yes, you have heard that right. And of course, they have been keeping the public in the dark because the knowledge of an imminent doom which would lead to social and economic breakdown. One of the most obvious effects of gravity from other planets or celestial bodies is the tides of our oceans. And you see this effect clearly from the historical retreating of the waters along the coast of South America on the side of the Atlantic Ocean in Brazil and Uruguay, and simultaneously the crossing of waters into the shores along the Pacific coast of Chile and the other western edge of the continent. Another side of the incoming gravity is the increase in the wobble of the Earth, also known as the tilt in the Earth's rotating axis. This have clearly been observed by farmers around the world as well as the areas in the far North Polar region, from where the change in the sun's and moon's position can be seen most clearly. In fact, you can find one of the old interviews with the northern Indians in our previous video on the topic of Earth wobble. So do that when you have the free time, and I'm not going to be too lengthy on that here. In the meantime, extreme climate activities are engulfing the planet. What we can see most obviously at this moment is the global heat wave, which is shattering temperatures record on every continent. 48 degrees in Europe and over 50 degrees in North America. Africa and Asia is setting uncontrollable wildfire across the lands, which hundreds burning in Europe and even inside the Arctic Circle. And the biggest one was in Athens, Greece, and it killed almost 100 people. In Japan, 22,000 people have been sent to the hospital because of the heat stroke, and what is worth noticing about the case of Japan is that only a week or two before the heat wave, the country had experienced one of the worst floods in its history, killing more than 200 people and making thousands have to evacuate. From inside the Earth, the core is also being stirred up as seismic and volcanic activities rise steadily. 40 volcanoes are aggressively active, and almost every single one in the rings of fire is showing signs of coming back to life, including the infamous Yellowstone supervolcano, which could potentially kill almost 100,000 people immediately and make 7 million square miles of American land instantly inhabitable. Too much volcanic eruption can also cover the planet in the layer of ashes and sulfur, bringing with it a nuclear winter as well as a downpour of acid rain. The majority of life on Earth and human civilizations might disappear even before the system of Planet X arrive. This is the legitimate threat because volcanic eruptions caused one out of the 6 mass extinctions in the Earth's history, as well as contributed a great deal of destructive forces in another one, the famous KPG extinction that wiped out the non-avian dinosaur. To sum up what I've been trying to say, the Nibiru catalysm will start long before the planet X is here. In fact, it might have already started. These are only a few examples of how the Earth and the solar system have been acting strangely as a giant cosmic object comes into contact with them. Now, with the footage from the Great American Eclipse, there is even a possibility that not one but 2 systems of Planet X are on their way to our planet. And like I have said before, the future seems dire, and we have no concrete idea of anticipating the consequences. We just know that the Nibiru catalysm will come, and it is not so far away anymore. The elites are already rumored to be secretly preparing for disaster, and I doubt they would have planned for you and me. That's all for now, guys. Keep looking to the sky, and if you notice any sign from wind blow to second sun or strange terrestrial phenomena, please send them to us, because that could be valuable insight to how and when Judgment Day strikes, and improve all our chances to survive the end of the world. Also subscribe for the latest updates on the sky and strange terrestrial phenomena all over the globe. Until we meet next time, stay safe guys. This is JT and X Sign signing out.